They had, of course, that game was at Clemson, and what we've seen so far today at the ACC tournament, the teams that are playing their first games, 2 of them have lost. The only one that's won is Virginia. Clemson has played a game already. Will that carry them through, and will that momentum help them against the Duke Blue Devils?
Who do you like in your one-on-one tonight?
Well, as we take a look at the one-on-one, I think the biggest key for Clemson is they've got to be ultra-aggressive. They cannot live on the outside. They've got to attack the paint. They were plus 18 in points in the paint against the Duke Blue Devils. Now, Duke wasn't playing their best basketball of the season when these two teams met. KJ McDaniels has been battling an injured left shoulder that's been throbbing in pain. He can't settle for the perimeter shot. Meanwhile, Jabari Parker, he has been a double-double machine as of late. And watch the footwork here. You've got all 5 defenders for North Carolina. You rip through, then you spin baseline. As you spin baseline, you get past the first defender, and then you finish down low in the paint. Jabari Parker playing at an elite level, probably his best basketball he's played at Duke over the last 6 games.
Anticipation of building here in Greensboro for Duke and Clemson. Let's send you over to Janine.
Well, Dan, he is indisputably the guy who is most valuable to his team. That is Clemson's KJ McDaniels, and he is not 100%. He has been battling through a shoulder injury that he received about 3 weeks ago, and he told me after last night's game that it was killing him. It's getting worse. And I just talked to the head trainer, and he and KJ told me that he received about 12 hours of treatment on that shoulder since last night. Now, he said he's most effective when reaching for balls, when trying to play through contact, and when trying to shoot a 3. He said the strength is just not there. So it remains to be seen just how much that shoulder injury will impact KJ tonight. Dan?
And such a big factor in their win over Duke back in January. 24 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks. First team all ACC on the media team. Second team as chosen by the coaches. They'll need a good McDaniels to come out of here with a win. Ron Hall's been a real factor at the point for Clemson. Recently played well last night, and Jerron Blossomgame had a huge game against Duke January the 11th. 14 points and 14 rebounds for the Blue Devils. 24-7 on the season. They start a couple of seniors in the backcourt in Thornton and Dawkins. Hood and Parker, as dynamic a duo as there is in the ACC, and Emil Jefferson in the middle. We mentioned the game on January the 11th at Little John Coliseum. Duke was not playing its best basketball at that point in time. And Clemson, the big game by Blossomgame we talked about. We told you what McDaniels did, had a monster game. And that actually dropped Duke to 1-2 in the ACC. They had lost at Notre Dame, and then they had won at home against Georgia Tech. Brad Brownell trying to take Clemson back to the NCAA tournament. He did that in his first year. This is his 4th year. How about this stat? The top 4 scoring defenses in Clemson history have come in the 4 years under Brad Brownell. What can you say about Mike Krzyzewski, the Hall of Famer, the winningest coach in Division I history, as he gets ready, looks for win number 982 tonight. The winner of this game to take on NC State tomorrow afternoon.
I think the big key, as Janine was talking about, is KJ McDaniels. I have a number in my head. That number tells me that KJ McDaniels has to get 26 points or more tonight in order for Clemson to have a chance to get the victory.
Dawkins off to Thornton. Now Parker over Blossomgame. The high arcing floater for the baseline won't go, and here come the Tigers.
Clemson slows it down, expecting a methodical approach at the offensive end of the floor. They try to frustrate the defense.
Clemson is the 3rd best defensive team in the country according to points allowed. Not only are they great defensively, but as you say, they're not a high possession team, because they do take a lot of time at the offensive end at times as well. Hood, a nice look inside. Jefferson, and Duke strikes first.
A beautiful entry pass up top. The miscommunication at the defensive end of the floor slips right to the rim.
Harrison looking for help, defended by Dawkins. Not normally a starter for Duke. All with Thornton on him. The screen by Noko. Good hedge by Parker. Harrison baseline, double teamed. Duke with some aggressive man-to-man defense in the early going. Shot clock's at 1. A miss for McDaniels, and it'll be Duke ball.
And that possession never had any kind of flow or rhythm to it for Clemson. I understand they want to slow things down. I think they've got to take their opportunities in transition when they have them. I think to help KJ McDaniels maybe jumpstart his offensive game, look for him to run the floor and try to throw ahead if you can, if you're Clemson.
Blossom game. The freshman guarding his fellow freshman in Jabari Parker. Now a switch. Parker spinning, hangs, draws the foul, does not get the roll, but he will be heading to the free throw line.
His balance and his footwork continues to impress me. I mean, every single time I watch him play, I'm in awe of his balance and his feel for the game, how he can read where the defense is and get to that open spot.
He was a force against North Carolina last Saturday. 30 points and 11 rebounds, as aggressive attacking the basket probably as he's been at any point during the season.
In his first 2 shot attempts in this game, although the first one was outside the paint, it was still going towards the basket, and I think that's where he has his most success. You see the numbers over his last 6 games, all of them, by the way, double-doubles. And 11 rebounds, sometimes you think, okay, we'll probably had a 15-rebound game and maybe an 8 somewhere in there. No, they've been double-double every single night.
The Duke Blue Devils have had remarkable success in the ACC tournament. They've won 19 in all. That's the most of any school. North Carolina's won 17. More remarkably, Duke has won 10 of the last 15. Hall. Harrison with a corner 3. Well short. Hood pulls up from the baseline. Rebound Jefferson.
One thing Clemson does extremely well is they close out to shooters on the three-point line. They are second in the nation in three-point field goal percentage.
Dawkins, no, he has really cooled off the last 3 weeks or so after having a crazy hot stretch late January, early February, but he comes into this game having made only 3 of his last 18 threes, covering 5 games.
Well, 71% of his makes on the season are three-point shots. So if he's not hitting them, he's certainly not going to stop taking them, because that's how he scores.
McDaniels guarded by Hood, lost it. Duke ball. Dawkins, nice look ahead, but Hood tips it out of bounds. Both he and Parker were there, but they turn it over.
Miscommunication that time. There's just 2 guys going for it. The pass was kind of in between them, and poor awareness.
And KJ McDaniels goes to the bench 3 minutes into the game. Austin Ojukwu, a freshman from Columbia, South Carolina, checks in.
Ojukwu at times has been a guy that can score. Against Virginia, came in off the bench, hit a couple of threes. But when KJ McDaniels is out, this is a very different Clemson team at this end of the floor.
You read anything into him going out of the game so early?
I think that shoulder is bothering him a lot more than they're letting on.
Hall, no. Noko, yes.
Noko with great size. Last night, remember, he was demanding the basketball. You saw it, Dan. You pointed it out during our broadcast. When a player's down low on the block and he's demanding the basketball, give him an opportunity to score. He wants to assert himself at the offensive end.
Good, a nice look. Parker draws the foul. Again, going towards the basket, as you were saying. He's headed back to the free throw line.
Now, Parker, no question, he asserts himself. But Noko for Clemson, gathering the offensive rebound, putting himself in position. Points in the paint were a big part of Clemson's success when they knocked off Duke earlier this season.
Noko had a double-double in that game. 10 points, 13 rebounds, added 4 blocks as well.
Parker's ability to get to the free throw line, and we've seen it already in the early stages of this game, and KJ McDaniels makes a quick return back in. A part of that, too, for Coach Brad Brownell could be seen that KJ is trying to force the issue a little bit too much at the offensive end of the floor.
Rashid Sulaimon into the game for Duke as Andre Dawkins sits down. Rod Hall at the point for Clemson. Had 11 points in the second half of the Clemson win over Duke back in January. Played well last night. He's been playing very well recently for the Tigers.
Dangerous pass right there. Jefferson almost got there to steal it.
Hall the drive and draws the foul. Timeout on the floor. 6-2 Duke leading in the early going.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank everyone for coming and sharing this time with the family here this afternoon.
Stay strong. See you at the field, okay?
Junior, hurry. Junior, leave her alone.
Matt, last time. Yeah. He made the shot. What are you yelling at me for?
Come on, Matt. Knock it off. Come on, Matt. That's it. Everyone on the sideline.
Who loves you? You, Coach. There's no secrets in here. You're going to have tangles with your brother. You've got to deal with it. Every single day, we do this. We show up, we practice, we sweat, we bleed, we hurt. How do we do it? Yeah. Let's go get it, baby. Let's go. 1, 2, 3.
Ready for this? Let's do this. Let's go. Go. Let's go, Beatty.
You want to finish? Go finish for him. Go finish for your grandfather right now.
On the ball. On the ball. Nice job, Beatty.
Good job, bud. They're proud to coach you, man.
Thanks, guys. I'm proud of you.
Let's take a look at one of the moments we love, brought to you by Axe. And there were some crazy moments at the end of the Syracuse-North Carolina State game. Ennis the miss. Grant misses on the follow. Ennis puts up the 3. Another offensive rebound. Cooney misses the 3. Another offensive rebound. Fair misses the 3. Another offensive rebound. Cooney gets another look at it, and the ball winds up out of bounds after Fair can't save it. Syracuse had 6 shots, 4 of them threes, but they couldn't connect, and they lose. They are one and done here in their inaugural ACC tournament.
And just frustration and so many opportunities where you would think that they were going to hit one of those shots. I think the other thing going down the stretch that I look at is, even as we watch it back now, they rushed a lot of those three-point shots. There was 12 seconds left to go on the clock, and Trevor Cooney is fading out of bounds, and as the shirt says, keep calm. I don't think they were calm down the stretch.
So how do you, again, everybody likes talking about seeding and that kind of thing. How do you evaluate Syracuse? Started 25-0, 27-5 now. They've lost 5 out of 7. Are they a 3 right now?
I think they're around a 3.
Yeah.
They could maybe even fall to a 4, but I think 3 is much more accurate.
Jim Boeheim telling us before their game that he's not so concerned about are they a 1 or 2 or a 3. He thinks where you go and just the matchup you get. Do your strengths fit their strengths? That both of those things are more important than what the actual seed line that you're on is.
Well, the opportunity to get rest for Trevor Cooney, who hurt his right ankle during the course of that game, still hasn't been able to find his shot. Gives Jeremy Grant a little extra time to rest his back prior to the start of the NCAA tournament.
And for NC State, a big win for a team trying to make a case for an at-large. Although, as Mark Godfrey told us, their goal here, as Hood hits with the shot clock running down, the Wolfpack's goal here, as Coach Godfrey said, is cut down the nets on Sunday.
They practiced it before they left. The last thing they did on campus prior to arriving here in Greensboro was they practiced cutting down the nets.
Harrison trying to use the screen. And he traveled.
By the way, that's the type of practice that I would enjoy.
That's different, huh?
I'd stand on the ladder and come like this. Meanwhile, Rodney Hood staying with it. Good job by KJ McDaniels blocking the shot. Knows the shot clock is running low. Squares up and knocks down the long range two.
Put a great season, top 10 in the ACC in scoring, field goal percentage, three-point percentage, and free throw percentage. Parker from 17, too strong, and Blossom game down with a rebound.
Milko wants the ball. Give it to him.
Got a size advantage on Jefferson. Kicks it back out. McDaniels. Tough shot. Rebound Duke.
That was similar to the shots we saw come off of KJ McDaniels' hands last night, and that's not a positive.
Sulaimon coast to coast.
Difference in quality of shot, the ability to take a bad miss and turn it into a good make for Duke.
And the lead grows to 7, nearly 6 minutes in. McDaniels. Defended again by Hood. McDaniels 6'6", Hood is 6'8". And a terrific athlete in his own right. Blossom game. Strong drive to the baseline. And a chance for 3.
Well, KJ McDaniels struggling right now, and you can just see it even when he's making passes with his left hand up on top. He's not 100%. He's not even close. You need somebody else to assert themselves offensively. Blossom game, as you mentioned, had a good solid first game against Duke, 14 and 14. He can hurt you from the outside. He can shoot it, but that's what he needs to do more of, and put pressure on this Duke defense and attack the interior.
Parker sits down, and Blossom game heads to the line looking for a three-point play. Quinn Cook is into the game for Duke.
Blossom game responded well this year after redshirting his prior season with a broken leg, and his response back, and big part of Clemson's success. You know, we talk about great teams in this conference and teams that have had good runs this year. Clemson has exceeded expectations this year.
As we mentioned last night, preseason they were picked 14th in the conference out of 15 schools. They finished 6th. They went from 5 and 13 in the league last year to 10 and 8 this year. Hood for 3. Marshall Plumlee in, keeps it alive. Sulaimon for 3. Yes.
It's the second time today we've seen a shot at that end of the floor hit the back of the iron and roll in. The soft shooter's touch that time for Sulaimon.
Adonis Filer, Jordan Roper into the game in the backcourt now for Clemson. Roper can give him a spark offensively off the bench.
Very small in stature, but a good quick release.
Noko, powerful move, can't finish. Blossom game can't follow. 5-on-4 Duke. Hood. Clemson ball, looking to push. Filer pulls up for 3, and Sulaimon down with a rebound.
Just a poor quality shot when you have a numbers situation in the fast break. I mean, there's no need to pull up and take that shot.
Screen by Plumlee. Sulaimon cradles it, misses it, and down with a rebound again. Blossom game, who's been very active at both ends of the court. A quiet start for McDaniels. Misses the 3.
They're settling right now for shots. If you're going to settle for three-point shots that are contested looks, there is almost 0% chance that Clemson can win this basketball game. Remember your recipe for success in the first game. It was attacking the paint. They were plus 18 in points in the paint.
Fueled by a good home crowd that day, playing on a neutral court here. Hood wanted a foul call. And back come the Tigers again. 8.5 minutes in. Clemson's got 6 points.
They're not taking advantage of the opportunities off the turnovers.
And Filer finds Noko on the interior for the slam. You can see the Blossom game and Noko. I mean, they're playing with a lot of confidence and energy right now, but it looks like it's lacking to a certain extent in some of the other players.
I don't think it looks like it. I think it is. I don't think that they're playing with the intensity. And right now, you don't want to say they're questioning whether they believe they can win, but they've got to start executing. I mean, that should be a rebound right there for Clemson. You should be going in the opposite direction. Instead, you try to corral it with one arm, and you let it roll out of bounds. Meanwhile, for Duke, Sulaimon gets the shooter's touch from the outside, and the Duke Blue Devils are rolling.
What does everything mean to you? With the Quicksilver Cashback Card from Capital One, it means unlimited 1.5% cashback on everything you purchase every day. It doesn't mean everything as long as you buy it at the gas station. It doesn't mean everything until you hit your cashback limit. It means earn 1.5% cashback on every purchase, every place, every occasion, all over creation. That's what everything should mean. So consider, what's in your wallet?
Fest is the king of all promotions.
It's Red Lobster's Lobster Fest, the year's largest selection of lobster entrees like Lobster Lover's Dream. Hurry in and see food differently. Go to redlobster.com for $10 off with purchase of 2 Lobster Fest entrees.
I'm a 6'8" power forward from your alma mater. We're one shot away from winning it all. And you couldn't even look away if your kitchen was on fire. Hey, look, your kitchen's on fire. And if you got your home insurance where you got your cut rate car insurance, it might not pay for all that. It's March and it's mayhem. So get Allstate, where agents help keep you protected from mayhem like me.
Mayhem is everywhere, so get an Allstate agent. Are you in good hands?
There has been some testiness over the last couple of years between Arizona and Colorado. Semifinals of the Pac-12 tournament just before the half. Gabe York knocked in the 3. Wildcats up by 3. Stanford UCLA, by the way, is the other semifinal in the Pac-12. Baylor and Texas. Winner will play Iowa State for the Big 12 championship. Michigan State looks like it's on its way to take on Wisconsin. The Con on top of Cincinnati, and in the Mountain West, San Diego State's up by 5.
Reese, look at the most recent edition of Joe Lunardi's bracketology. Still has Villanova on the 1 line. And the 2 seeds, we're told this is in order. Michigan as the #1 2 seed, if you will. Then Wisconsin, Duke, and Kansas a loser to Iowa State. So right now it looks like Joe's got the Big Ten teams, should one of those 2 teams win the Big Ten championship, ahead of anybody in the ACC, be it Duke or Virginia.
No, I still think, though, that if the winner from the ACC and the winner of the Big Ten, that's the team that's going to be the final #1 seed. Villanova's not going to be there on Selection Sunday. And it changes things a little bit, though, in the dynamics of the tournament. I mean, you look at Louisville, and they've had to beat Rutgers and Houston in order to get to the title game. Even SMU would have been maybe a bigger resume builder to move on up to that potential 1 line.
In and out for Parker, with the rebound down to Josh Smith, who has checked in for the first time for Clemson. Dawkins back into the game for Duke. Brad Brownell's got a lot of big guys he can shuttle in and out of the lineup. He's got Sidi Jete in there now, 6'10" freshman out of Senegal, number 50. Look at the hedge by Plumlee. I don't know that there's a 7-footer in the country who hedges with as much enthusiasm as Marshall Plumlee does.
Hedges and then recovers, too. That's the big part of it, because if you hedge and you extend out, you've got to be able to recover, and you have to get help from your teammates on the weak side.
Shot clock a factor. Filer throws it up with his wrong hand, and it's a shot clock violation against Clemson. Down to Janine.
Well, Brad Brownell is really stressing to his guys that they've got to do a better job getting into the paint. They have got to be more aggressive getting it into the paint, be more aggressive trying to push it in transition, and when Noko goes back into the game, he will be the focus. They want to get him more touches in the paint.
And that's exactly what we've been talking about over here, and it's of the utmost importance. I mean, Noko only averages 6 points per game, but he could have a 15, 16-point game, because KJ McDaniels isn't going to be able to give you what he normally does.
Parker misses another jumper. He's 0 for 4. Jete is fouled by Parker.
I would have rather seen him just go up right away on the catch there. He allowed the defense to get into him, and fine, you get to the free throw line, but you're tall, you're strong, you catch the ball, gather yourself, and go right to the rim.
Jete, a freshman, averages just over a point per game. Limited playing time, just 2 for 10 from the free throw line this season.
And when you're 2 for 10 from the free throw line, even more the reason why on the catch, go to the rim. If you're an 85% free throw shooter, shot fake, get fouled, get to the stripe.
Missed them both. Rebound Harrison, a loose ball. Plumlee dives and just does save it before he slides out of bounds.
Good hustle by Plumlee.
Playing more, contributing more than he did earlier in the season.
Playing with a better sense of urgency, purpose, understanding his role. I'm going to rebound. I'm going to make the hustle plays. These are the small things that can help your team win.
Parker draws the double team, tries to spin out of it. And a travel is the call. Sean Hall with a call. Roger Ayers and Bill Covington also working the game here tonight.
Coach K is in disagreement with that one. He wanted the push before the travel. We'll see on the catch. He definitely spun off and lifted up his pivot foot. That's a good call. And the push was before he even caught the ball.
Rod Hall back into the game for Clemson. McDaniels again with Hood on him. Hall for three. Kept alive. Smith can't corral it, though. Can't get up strong with it. And now Parker and Thornton bring it out for Duke.
For Smith, he was playing the play ahead instead of playing in the moment. He was concerned about how he was going to go back up to score rather than controlling the offensive rebound.
Plumlee. Good challenge there by Jeté, and they play on. In all seriousness, when's the last time either team scored until there?
Right now.
Great drive by Roper. Good call.
Yeah.
You're right on top of it.
Thank you. I just want to make sure. That's what you've asked of me ever since we got here to Greensboro, Sean. Stay on top of everything.
Marty Aronoff telling us that it had been 3 minutes and 14 seconds since either team had scored a point. And if Marty says it, it is so. Hood, nice little fake. And with the answer at the other end to get the lead back to 5. There's no question that in almost every game that's been played in this tournament, at least the ones that you and I have done, that the field goal percentages in the first 8-10 minutes of the game have been drastically lower than later on in the game. All these teams seem to be starting slowly.
And trying to find their rhythm. And just as we were talking about in the last game with Syracuse, Clemson not playing well, yet it's a 2-possession game.
Roper for 3. And a chance for 4.
Well, Roper, small in stature, 5'11" is what he's listed at. I'd probably go even a little shorter than that, able to get up and elevate, draw the contact, the foul, hold the follow-through, knock it down, a chance to make it a 1-point game when we return.
Save up to 20% at Best Western with a swipe, a tap, or a click. Save up to 20% and enjoy free high-speed internet, a hot breakfast, and 1,500 rewards points. Only at bestwestern.com.
Introducing the crunchy new Fritos Chicken Enchilada Melt at Subway.
Wait a minute, the Fritos go on the sub?
Really?
You gotta taste it to believe it.
One bite and you can't resist.
I love the crunch.
With tender pulled chicken, authentic enchilada sauce, and Fritos corn chips on top.
It's the whole enchilada and then some.
Cruncha muncha Fritos on my sub.
New Fritos Chicken Enchiladas.
Cruncha muncha on that. Subway, eat fresh.
To the guys who grow facial hair and make life more interesting, don't let gray trash your stash. Just for men, mustache and beard. 5 easy minutes, gray is gone. Grow on, you champions of facial hair. Just for men.
Gotta run. Gotta run. Gotta run. Gotta run.
Here in Philadelphia, you can access a Philly cheesesteak anytime, day or night. Just like you can access Geico anytime, day or night. There's only one way to celebrate this unique similarity. Witness the cheesesteak shuffle.
Cheesesteak, cheesesteak. It's the cheesesteak shuffle, huh? Every day, all day, cheesesteak, cheesesteak. Every night, all night, cheesesteak, cheesesteak. 9 a.m. cheesesteak. 2 p.m. cheesesteak. 4 a.m. cheesesteak. Anytime.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Let's take a look at our Tournament Challenge resume, brought to you by Acura. What do the Clemson Tigers have to do to make a run at an at-large? They are 20-11 on the season. They went 10-8 in the ACC. They've beaten Duke. They've also beaten NC State. That looks a little better right now after NC State just beat Syracuse. They've won at Florida State. They lost to an Auburn team that did not have a good season. As we mentioned last night, they are nowhere to be found on Joe Lunardi's first 4 out or next 4 out. Obviously beating Duke for the second time in one season would make a statement. But is it enough, or do they have to do more work even to get serious consideration for an at-large?
I think based on the lack of conversation about it, they would have to do even more work. They have to win tonight. They'd have to advance the ACC championship game to give themselves a chance.
Parker, a little bit short, follow no good. Jefferson. lays it in. Duke by 3.
Jefferson being active, Parker struggling, now 0 for 5 from the field. So KJ McDaniels and Jabari Parker combined 0 for 8 between those two.
Roper. And fouled by Sulaimon. So Roper, who just had a 4-point play, now will get 3 free throws. With more on Roper, down to Janine again.
You know, and how cool to see this young man doing well after suffering a mild stroke last year. You know, he told me that he went through a depression last summer after that stroke. It scared him. It shook his world. He was suffering from bad headaches. He has a totally new outlook on life.
All right, Janine, thank you. And a very, very important player. You said small in stature, comes off the bench, but a guy, because they don't score very much, he can change the entire tenor of the game.
At points in time in this season, he has asserted himself and been able to be productive and find that rhythm and flow. Right before the start of conference play, he had a 3-game stretch where he averaged almost 16 points per contest. He's been unable to replicate that kind of success as the season's moved on.
He has scored their last 9 points, and Clemson is back into a tie.
Well, with the stars not showing up, it's more about the complementary parts.
What a block by Noko. Hall pushing. Blossom game, no. And Duke ball, another rebound in traffic by Jefferson.
The idea was right for Clemson, though, to get the ball down low in the paint.
Nice backdoor cut. Hood, no. Duke missing a lot of chances around the rim. McDaniels still scoreless tonight. Roper wants him kind of hiding down in the corner. He's feeling good about things right now. He's been the go-to guy offensively for the Tigers. Blossom game for 3. Noko, little push-off maybe, but he got the offensive rebound.
It was good awareness, though, by Blossom game to take that shot because Jabari Parker was on the wrong side of Noko.
Here's Roper. Guarded by Thornton. And Thornton fouled him. And Roper's going back to the free throw line again.
Well, it starts at the defensive end of the floor for Clemson. That is where they have made their identity and protecting the rim. Noko able to wipe that one away from Jabari Parker. Excellent job for Clemson. They are so good at the defensive end of the floor. And they have to be because of their struggles at the offensive end.
Noko had 6 blocks last night in the win over Georgia Tech in the second round. And he's been a force at the defensive end of this game as well. Roper with 11.
11 of the 19 coming off of his fingertips, and how many of them have he earned at the free throw line? People reaching in on jump shots, drawing fouls.
Duke, a team known for great three-point shooting. They've really been attacking the rim, but they've missed some chances. Clemson has defended the rim very well. Here's Hood driving, and he gets it to go to tie the game.
Rodney Hood, 3 for 7 now from the floor, and 6 points.
Nearly 15 minutes into the game. Duke, which averages about 9.5 threes per game. They've only got 1 tonight. Sulaimon hit 1. They've only taken 4. McDaniels a tough spinning shot.
Well, that's where he needs to get to, that spot on the floor. Great scorers, sometimes they identify a spot on the catch. Where can I beat my defensive player? And if I get there, I know I'm going to make the shot. That time, he shot it with confidence, and he got to his spot.
Hood open behind the arc. Plumlee the offensive rebound.
The three-point basket so key for Duke. It's worth repeating once again. Clemson second in the nation in three-point field goal percentage defense.
Matt Jones bounce past Plumlee off his fingertips. It stays with Duke. And Parker right back into the game. Emil Jefferson sits down. Jefferson's already got 7 rebounds in this game.
He's been very active, in particular on the offensive end of the glass.
The only team in the nation this year that scores more efficiently than Duke, and by that I mean points per possession, is Creighton. Duke scores 1.2 points per possession. Creighton's 1.21. Duke's only got 19 points in this game, 15.5 minutes in.
Well, and points per possession sometimes get skewed because the ability to stretch the defense with a three-point shot. Where does Creighton get a lot of their looks from? Beyond the arc. Where does Duke have success? Beyond the arc.
DeMarcus Harrison called for the foul. And you can see just 3 fouls committed by Clemson in this game as well, as Ojukwu will replace Harrison. And Jabari Parker, Sean, is 0 for 7 in this game.
After playing so well coming into this contest in such a great and elite rhythm, he's not there right now.
Double team, slips through it and scores. First field goal of the night for Jabari Parker.
Balance. Balance within your base. 2 defensive players are on you. Don't panic. Stop on the floor. Create space and finish.
Jones drawing the assignment of Roper. Nearly turned it over, finds Hall. Noko coming up to set a screen. Hall goes the other way, then backs it out. Driving on Cook. Boy, is he strong. He's not trying to go right or left. He's trying to go right through you.
His upper body strength, his shoulders, allows him to absorb contact and go through it.
He's a north-south driver, as they say. He's going right to the rim, and if you're in his way, that's your problem. 2-point lead, Clemson. Parker for 3. Plumlee another rebound. Lost it, though. Taken away by Ojukwu.
A smart decision by Ojukwu to pull it back out as the defensive transition was good for Duke. So the pace of this game back down. The tempo of this flow of this game is very much so where Clemson wants it to be.
2 of the top 4 seeds have already lost. North Carolina this afternoon, Syracuse tonight. Duke, the number 3 seed, trailing the number 6 seed, Clemson, here late in the first half. What a great job by Roper, but it winds up in the hands of Hood. And then Hood is fouled by Ojukwu to take us to a timeout. 2.5 left in the first half. Clemson leading by 2. Will Duke's fortunes change now that Jabari Parker is finally on the board?
ESPN Bracketology is your selection Sunday guide to the big dance.
They've proven they belong.
That'll be a classic. Great defense against great offense.
ESPN Bracketology Special presented by Staples. Sunday at 7 on ESPN.
Are you okay, Mom? Yes, I am.
Life insurance from New York Life can help your family keep good going.
Throughout his life, pint-sized point guard Nate Robinson has always taken on big things. He's never been intimidated by big things. In fact, he embraced them. So for Nate Robinson, taking down Taco Bell's biggest, most ultimate steak taco was no big deal. But you are not Nate Robinson. The new Double XL Steak Crispy Taco with double the steak in a Double XL shell. Regular size for Nate Robinson, Double XL for you.
There once was a hungry road that wouldn't let drivers get very far. Then along came the Michelin Man who proved the right tire changes everything. Drive longer with the Michelin Defender tire, backed by a 90,000-mile limited warranty. Michelin, a better way forward.
It doesn't matter how tall the building is, or how ornate the halls are. It doesn't matter if there are granite statues or big mahogany desks. When working with an investment firm, what's really important is whether the people behind the desks actually stand behind what they say. Introducing the Schwab Accountability Guarantee. If you're not happy with one of our participating investment advisory services, we'll refund your program fee from the previous quarter. It's no guarantee against loss, and other fees and expenses may still apply.
Standing by your word, that's what matters the most.
I'm Reese Davis. Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report is coming up. Syracuse sent packing as the Wolfpack try to jam their foot into the glass slipper and work their way into the NCAA tournament. Kansas and Iowa State, most entertaining game of the night. The Cyclones are able to hand the Jayhawks a loss and perhaps knock them out of contention for a #1 seed. And the most entertaining individual performance goes to Russ Smith of Louisville. Wait till you see what he did.
A career high for Russ Smith in that Louisville win that puts them into the championship game of the American Conference. Here, Clemson and Duke in a quarterfinal matchup. The winner to take on NC State in the semis tomorrow afternoon. Virginia and Pittsburgh also through to the semifinals as well. Another impressive performance today by the Cavaliers.
The Cavaliers so balanced offensively. I think their depth is vastly underrated when you look at Anderson and Gill and what they're able to provide off the bench. A couple of times in the first half, the offensive putbacks by Gill separated the Cavs.
Cook the lob to Parker. And tied again at 23.
Just great floor spacing that time. And a beautiful touch pass over the top.
McDaniels in the game, but on the weak side, out on the perimeter. Not a big factor here tonight as Cook gets the steal in the lane, and the Blue Devils take the lead.
Or just sloppy passing that time in that possession for Clemson. We heard Coach Brownell yelling in the back of the monitor saying, move it, move it, move it. His team's not moving it. They're not moving physically, and they're not moving it well with the pass.
All the drive again. And the finish again.
He is strong. He is very strong when he turns that corner. He had 11 points against Duke earlier this season. Playing well coming into the ACC tournament, continues to maintain that streak of good games.
Last 7 games for Hall, almost 13 points per. Duke goes over the top again. Hood with a slam.
Well, that'll get the Duke fans on their feet. 2 out of the last 3 possessions now. They've gone up over the top for lobs.
Final minute of the first half. And a timeout taken by Brad Brownell. We'll step aside for 30 seconds. Duke leading by 2.
The Ohio State University.
The University of Texas Southern University.
California, Berkeley.
Old Dominion University.
Harvard University.
The University of Virginia.
Texas A&M.
Norfolk State University.
University.
Arizona State.
Pennsylvania State University.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
Duke's had trouble putting the ball in the basket tonight the conventional way, so they decide, Sean, why not go over the top a couple of times?
These are 2 plays that'll make you jump out of your chair if you're at home. Clemson squeezes you and forces you to take contested looks. But if you throw it over the top, you can find some easy ones at the iron.
Saw a couple of looks at the hood slam there. Parker had one as well. And now it's Clemson ball in the final minute of the first half, down by 2.
Overall, a solid first half for Clemson, especially considering how poor McDaniels has played.
Parker again.
Help the field goal percentage. Why? Just go dunk the ball. That's 3 dunks in a row for Duke. It starts with D. It ends with the D at the other end. That's a dunk.
8 points in a minute and a half for Duke. They're up by 4, and the Tigers can hold.
And the momentum has completely shifted now for the Duke Blue Devils.
Roper. And the first half comes to a close with Duke finishing strong and turning a deficit into a lead as they lead Clemson by 4 at the break. Parker getting hot on the strength of a couple of dunks late. KJ McDaniels, bruised left shoulder, not a major factor in the first half here tonight.
And Coach K is irate right now, saying that he called a timeout with 2 seconds left to go on the clock when they got the rebound. And he is pleading his case still to the officials.
Janine Edwards is with Duke Associate Head Coach Steve Wojciechowski.
Steve, the 3-pointers haven't been there, but you just made 3 dunks in a row, so you're getting the job done. What changed? The momentum has shifted right now for you guys.
I think overall our defense has been pretty good. We've made some critical errors in fouling jump shooters, and they got a bunch of points on that. But overall, our defense has been pretty good. Our rebounding has been good. We cannot foul people shooting jump shots.
And as far as Jabari Parker's concerned, he's been getting the touches, but until recently, his shots just weren't going in. What does he need to do maybe to expand his impact on the game a little bit?
Well, he's 18 years old, and it's his first ACC tournament game. And so, you know, we want to get him the ball early. And our belief and our confidence is that he'll finish those plays.
All right, Steve. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Halftime here at the Greensboro, 29-25 Duke. Time now for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Back to the studio again. Reese Davis, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams.
All right, Dan, 29-25 at the half. Halftime probably
able to get out and finish, and then watch the way they execute on the two lob plays. Poor communication. KJ McDaniels stays with Cook. Get caught in no man's land, lob up over the top for the easy finish. And then on the next one, it was a high four, a 1-4 high rather, and they stayed up top and it opened up Hood down the middle. Great job by Cook on all three of those plays to facilitate.
Sulaimon starting instead of Dawkins for Duke at the outset of the second half. No changes for Clemson as we check in with Janine Edwards.
Well, guys, that shoulder is bothering KJ McDaniels, and it's showing up on the stat sheet. He has 2 points and 1 rebound. He's fighting through the pain. The trainers told me they did not give him any additional treatments at halftime, but clearly it's impacting him. Brad Brownell telling me we've got to get production somewhere else. Landry Noko, we've got to get him more touches in the paint. He had said that earlier. He said we've got to be able to move the ball on offense, side to side, and make some on their misses.
Great block by Noko, but Duke gets the offensive rebound, and it winds up with another Parker basket.
Noko's activity around the rim has made things difficult for Duke inside the paint, but that time they were able to stay with it, and then Parker able to finish.
McDaniels, the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, an All-ACC player, 17 points, 7 rebounds per game, 2 points, 1 rebound tonight. Long jumper, it's a 2, toe on the line for McDaniels, but he does knock it down.
And just for him to see a shot go through the net, I think is going to benefit him in his mindset. Rodney Hood is going to sit down. And McDaniels on that last possession as the ball gets swung out, steps on that right toe, gets on the line, and they're able to knock it down. But Rodney Hood got, I think, hitting them out.
And we're told from one of the officials that Rodney Hood is not feeling well, and all the Duke players are standing and literally blocking everybody's view of Rodney Hood.
That's okay.
We're good with that?
Those are things, you know, that go unnoticed so often. Players in these situations, you just have to try to play through.
Matt Jones comes into the game to take Hood's place. And good hustle on the offensive glass. Duke rewarded with another possession.
Rodney Hood giving a great effort given the circumstances that he's under tonight.
Sulaimon off the inbounds, banks it home. And the lead is up to 6. The winner will get North Carolina State in the second semifinal tomorrow. That's 3 Eastern here on ESPN. The first semifinal, Pittsburgh and Virginia. Virginia defeating Florida State. Pittsburgh was pummeling North Carolina before the Tar Heels made a game of it late. But the Panthers are on to the semis. Again, a check with Janine.
Well, guys, yeah, you had mentioned that the players were standing in front of Rodney Hood. He was just sick to his stomach. This has been an ongoing issue for Rodney. He's got nerves. He's got a very nervous stomach, and occasionally they'll have to give him medicine, anti-nausea tablets to help him deal with that. But usually it affects him before the games start.
There have been 2 games this year where he was in the starting lineup, but then did not start the game. It was a last-second decision because of that issue, and Sulaimon fouled, and I think it's going to be a shooting foul. I think he's going to get a couple of free throws here, and he is.
Well, and a smart play by Duke to throw that ball ahead. Clemson very good in their half-court set defense, as we've profiled throughout the course of this game. Take the opportunities when you have them. When they got that stretch run in the first half, the looks were in their primary break and their quick hitters, set design plays for the alley-oop.
Remember Sulaimon, the game against Michigan back at the beginning of December, didn't play. Right. Didn't play a minute. He had worked himself out of the rotation. He wasn't practicing well. He wasn't playing well. Obviously, we saw last year as a freshman what a talented player he is. He has worked his way back to become a big part of the rotation, but in somewhat of a different role. Mike Krzyzewski doesn't like to say he's a point guard, he's a shooting guard, but Sulaimon's doing a lot of the ball handling, and his assist totals are way up in conference play.
And it's such an important aspect of this team. I mean, giving depth and rounding out this lineup, you need someone with a defensive mindset, somebody that can set the tone, pick and choose its moments to score.
Noko with a nice cut, kicks it back out. Hall with a drive, and hits no, they wave it off. Going to be an offensive foul. And you can see how Coach Brownell feels about that one.
Tyler Thornton moves over as a secondary defensive player. He has to be set before the upward motion of the shot.
And the ball back over to Duke. Parker, an immediate double team, but he draws the foul and will be going to the free throw line. It's on Blossom game. Brad Brownell is an unhappy man right now. Unhappy with his team, unhappy with the calls.
The NCAA Women's Selection Special, Monday at 7 on ESPN.
Whatever trip you're imagining, on Expedia, you can book any flight, car, and hotel together and save up to 20% when you build your custom trip. Expedia, find yours.
Papa John's has changed the cheeseburger forever.
It's my new double cheeseburger pizza. Cheeseburger? Cheeseburger. Cheeseburger?
Cheeseburger.
Double cheeseburger.
Papa John's new double cheeseburger pizza. 100% premium beef, no fillers, fresh diced tomatoes, pickles, and a zesty sauce. Just $12 for a limited time at papajohns.com.
Papa John's quality with the taste of a cheeseburger. You got me. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's.
Some don't know that Jaguar is one of the fastest growing luxury automotive brands. But they certainly do. The XF from Jaguar. Oh, it's good to be bad.
Visit your local Jaguar retailer during the Mark Your Territory Spring Sales event.
I'm the world's worst cleaning lady. I'm here in your home having a pretty spectacular Tuesday. But I don't notice the loose rug at the top of your stairs. And that's about to become an issue for me. If you've got the wrong home insurance coverage, my medical bills could get expensive. So get Allstate.
Good hands, good home. Make sure you have the right home protection. Talk to an Allstate agent.
Earlier today, the Pitt Panthers advancing onto the semifinals of the ACC tournament with a win over North Carolina. Talib Zana, 19 points and 21 rebounds. Also earlier today, Virginia, the regular season champions, dispatching Florida State and moving on to the semis. Virginia defeated Pittsburgh 48-45 in their lone regular season meeting. NC State with a 3-point win over Syracuse, awaiting the winner of this one.
I think the thing for Jamie Dixon's squad is all season long, who have they beaten, who have they beaten, who have they beaten, and they were close countless times and unable to close it out. Ennis hit the big shot. Brogdon hit a big shot. They lose both those games at home, but Talib Zana, as we saw earlier today, he can rebound, and Lamar Patterson, I think, is one of the better all-around players in this conference. He can score in all three phases of the game. He can stretch it from the outside, which they need with Johnson being out for the season. They need his consistency from beyond the arc, but he's also able to create off the bounce and cut and move without the ball.
And as Jim Boeheim pointed out to us before the Syracuse game, we were talking to him about various things. Now, he comes from the Big East, as Pittsburgh does as well, and obviously Syracuse and Pittsburgh have had some battles over the years. He said two things. He said, if you don't think Pittsburgh is good, you don't know anything about basketball. And he's seen Pittsburgh enough to know. And he said, hey, they lost to Virginia, 1-possession game. They lost to Syracuse, 1-possession game. They go on the ledger as losses, but obviously they're a quality team.
They are a quality team, and Jamie Dixon has consistently had that program at a high level. Top 5 over the last 12 years as far as winning percentage goes in all of college basketball. Pitt Panthers are right there.
Tyler Thornton open in the corner. He doesn't take a lot of them, but he makes a great percentage of them. 44% on threes on the season.
And just 1 for his last 10 from the field over the last 3 games.
Roper, the go-to guy, with 11 points off the bench for Clemson in the first half, including a 4-point play. Duke ball.
And just a poor pass that time for Clemson. Opposite end of the floor. Good ball reversal. Miscommunication of the defensive end of the floor. Blossom Game is covering nobody. And that's a problem, because that means if you're covering nobody, somebody's open.
Thornton, a guy that Mike Krzyzewski has a lot of trust in. He's a senior. He's a leader, a good defender. Doesn't put up big numbers, but he gets a lot of playing time, and your prototypical intangibles glue guy that every good team needs.
A glue guy that over the course of his career has hit some very big shots. 2 years ago, the winner against Kansas in Maui. They beat Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament with another one.
Jones with an air ball. Roper knocks it out of bounds. And it will be Clemson ball with Duke up by 11. Clemson battling for a spot to get in the semis, but they've fallen into a double-digit deficit here in Greensboro.
This is Joe Wood's first day of work, and his new boss told him 2 things. Cook what you love and save your money. Joe doesn't know it yet, but he'll work his way up from busser to waiter to chef before opening a restaurant specializing in fish and game from the great Northwest. He'll start investing early. He'll find some good people to help guide him, and he'll set money aside from his first day of work to his last, which isn't rocket science. It's just common sense. From TD Ameritrade.
I taught you at those, yeah?
Too good. Keep paddling. Keep paddling.
Life insurance from New York Life can help your family keep good going.
To the guys who grow facial hair and make life more interesting, don't let gray trash your stash. Just for Men mustache and beard. 5 easy minutes, gray is gone. Grow on, you champions of facial hair. Just for Men.
Save up to 20% at Best Western with a swipe, a tap, or a click. Save up to 20% and enjoy free high-speed internet, a hot breakfast, and 1,500 rewards points. Only at bestwestern.com.
You shouldn't have to share your appetizers. Chili cheese fries and Chipotle ranch chicken, grilled inside a tortilla. Taco Bell's newest loaded grillers.
Some don't know that Jaguar is one of the fastest growing luxury automotive brands. But they certainly do. The XF from Jaguar. Oh, it's good to be bad.
Visit your local Jaguar retailer during the Mark Your Territory Spring Sales event.
Welcome back to Greensboro. Dan Schulman, Sean Farnham, Janine Edwards. ACC quarterfinal action. Duke leading Clemson 40-29. 30 for 30. Requiem for the Big East explores the meteoric rise of the Big East Conference as it became one of the most successful college sports leagues in America that eventually had to fight for survival in a new era. 30 for 30. Requiem for the Big East presented by Infinity. When you think about some of the great years college basketball had back in the 80s, a lot of that centered around the Big East. Georgetown, Syracuse, Villanova, St. John's, and on and on. So many more. I mean, great coaches, great players. Remember the Villanova-Georgetown national championship game in 1985.
Well, and as the college landscape has changed, the focal point will continue to be the ACC.
McDaniel's short on the 3, which of course now has, what, 6 former Big East teams in it? 7?
And you think about the recent additions of Syracuse, Notre Dame, and Pitt. And then next year, Louisville, and you just watch the American this year and see how good Louisville has been playing, and you can imagine what they're going to add to this conference next year.
Parker, no. And the rebound down to Clemson. Boy, Noko's working hard on the glass, running the floor, defending the rim, posting up. He's giving an honest effort out there.
Did you hear what he just said to his teammates? He said, "Pass me the ball, man." And he is working hard. He is posting up. And you know what? If I'm Coach Brownell, I'm going to call a timeout and say, you know what? He's right. Yep. He wants to score. Pass him the ball then.
He's got about 30 pounds on Emil Jefferson as Hood is back in the game, evidently feeling better.
Well, efficiency-wise, to start the second half, Clemson out of that timeout was 2 of 3 shooting. Now, they've missed their first 2 shots since they've come out of the break, but the 3 turnovers had led to 4 points.
Noko gets a touch. He is still not happy.
Well, nobody's cutting and moving.
Yep.
The spacing is bad. It's a very lethargic approach offensively as KJ McDaniels finally gets something going to the rim. You know, as a big, you catch the ball down low on the block. If you don't have a shot, you don't want to force something up. Someone's got to move and relocate to space the floor out.
Marshall Plumlee getting set to check in for the Blue Devils. Jefferson has 9 rebounds already in this game. He had some big rebounding games in ACC play. 15 in one game, 12 in another. Nice find to Sulaimon, who missed the jumper. And Noko down with another rebound. DeMarcus Harrison, a quiet game, but will draw the foul and head to the free throw line as Hood tried to step in and take the charge.
A good aggressive move by Clemson on this possession. The same thing on the previous possession. KJ McDaniels finishing with that left hand, obviously attached to that left shoulder that's been bothering him so much.
How cool is that camera, by the way? In slow-mo to see looks like that.
It's amazing. I love the different perspective and point of view that we can see as we sit here at the broadcast table. And Harrison knocks down the first. Harrison, a transfer from BYU. An interesting story how he ended up at Clemson. He was going to take his Mormon mission. And he had already told and informed BYU that he was going to take it. Then he wasn't admitted into that program, that mission that he wanted. And so he wanted to go back to BYU, but they had already allocated his scholarship away. So he had to find a new home. He appealed immediately. The NCAA granted him the opportunity to play right away, and he went to Clemson.
He's a junior out of Greenwood, South Carolina, averaging 7 points per game on the season. And he brings Clemson back within 9. And Hood headed to the free throw line.
Rodney Hood just powering through right now, dealing with the illness that Janine alerted us to. And last 3 games, he has been playing some really good basketball. The focus obviously on Jabari Parker and the numbers that he's throwing up, 6 straight double-doubles. But Rodney Hood, 52% from the field. Overall, 54% inside the arc, and was averaging better than 20 points per game over the last 3 headed into this contest.
Hood, a redshirt sophomore, transfer from Mississippi State. This is his first year as an active player in the Duke program, and Mike Krzyzewski thinking so much out of him that he was named a co-captain at the outset of the season. Never before had a player who had yet to suit up in a game for Duke been named a co-captain.
Well, I think a lot of that goes back to what we saw a year ago covering Duke, and just how hard he worked at practice every single day, and the added dimension of trying to skill development, trying to improve, knowing that he was going to have to sit out the entire season and wait for his opportunity.
Hall forcing the issue again. Plumlee came over and got a piece of it. But there's a Duke foul. It's not going to be on Plumlee. I think Cook is getting called for the foul.
Well, the best offense for Clemson has been drawing fouls and getting to the free throw line.
And Hall to the free throw line. He has been in drive mode all night long, trying to get into the paint at every opportunity.
They continue to stop the clock, make free throws. It's really the best opportunity for Clemson to score against Duke's defense.
McDaniels among those sitting down. A Roper will take a seat as well. Filer is back into the game, and a Ojukwu as well for the Tigers. Jefferson into double figures in rebounding.
Clemson does a nice job showing mock pressure to basically just take some time off the shot clock and allow their defense to set up in the half-court set. They stay in the 2-3 zone on this possession.
Duke just 2 for 9 shooting threes. 3 for 10.
Well, they switched to the zone defense because Duke was finding it way too easy to get in the paint. Now you go into the zone, and what do? Immediately they stretch it from the outside.
Shooting 39% as a team from beyond the arc on the season. And they were up around 41 for a while. They were up in the top 3 in the country for a while in February before they cooled off a bit toward the end of the season.
Well, also the point of emphasis for them in their scoring and the way they were scoring the ball down the stretch, as you saw at that North Carolina game, a continuation of attacking the paint, being aggressive. Clemson needs to continue to be aggressive here and try to earn trips to the free throw line if they're going to try to make a comeback. Because Duke, they're moving the ball well and finding high-quality looks from the outside.
Take that, Jersey Tucker. That's a technical, Sunshine. You know the rules. We play hard, but we don't play dirty. A good sport shakes hands, win or lose. So get back out there and make good.
Sorry, man. I got next round.
Hey, drinks on this guy. Grab a seat. The game is on.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Hey, what about me?
When you're fishing for a 1,000-pound payday, you take your horsepower, fuel, tuna rod, and reel. And then you grind. Hours, knocks, breaks, betrayals, bad blood. You add it all up, throw it at the ocean, and hope the payback is a fish. Wicked Tuna. New episodes. Sundays at 9 on the National Geographic.
Gotta run. Gotta run. Gotta run. Gotta run.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that, Parker.
Well, did you know auctioneers make bad grocery store clerks?
Will be $23.50. Now 75, 23.75 on them. Hey, to get down 23.75 and 24. Hey, $24, 24 and a quarter. Now half, 24 and a half and 75 and 25. Now a quarter. Hey, 26 and a quarter. On them. Hey, to get down 20. You want to do it? 5 and a quarter. Sold to the man in the khaki jacket.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you, well, you know.
The American semifinal, UConn taking on Cincinnati. Sean Kilpatrick has 10 so far for the Bearcats. He's had an All-America type season. Nifty move there. The Con hanging around, down by just a bucket. Just under 12 minutes left to play in that American semifinal. Winner gets Louisville. Doug McDermott, by the way, 19 points already for Creighton. Just needs another bucket to move into the top 5 in the all-time scoring list.
Andres, thank you. Look at that Baylor score as well. Boy, they're a tough team to figure out sometimes. They're up 15 on Texas. By the way, Sports Center right now on ESPN News.
Well, they're streaking at the right time. And Baylor hit that slump right after a very hot start, and now they've got their footing back underneath them. And I love their length that they have. Corey Jefferson underneath. Rico gathers the muscle that he could provide. It all comes down to stability at their guard play. If Kenny Cherry can provide just even a little bit of consistency on the outside, Heslop getting open for threes, the great product from
both of them are. Both of them.
Yep.
Cherry and Heslop. Thank you. Duly noted.
Just trying to help you out.
Check off another box.
Okay, good. That was on the requirement of working with you. How to get a Canada reference in.
How many teams, how many schools from the Big 12 get in? 7?
I think 7. I think 7 is legitimate.
Jukwa, that's legitimate right there. 10-point game. Duke's created a little bit of separation. They're not able to really put Clemson away. A lot of time left in this game. Winner to get NC State in the semifinals tomorrow. Hood driving on McDaniels, challenges Jete at the rim, draws the foul, and all of his teammates rushing over to make sure he's okay after the earlier episode with the illness.
See, that's where Duke, I think, just has gotten so much better as the season has progressed. The aggressive nature on the outside, not settling just for the three-point shot, ripping through, driving, drawing contact, especially Hood and Parker. And Jefferson, he checks back into the game, and you've mentioned his ability to rebound the basketball. I saw this young man a couple of years back at the Adidas Nations event where they bring in the top players from around the world, and he was one of those guys that really stood out. His ability to slash, move without the ball, his length, and this year playing undersized at his position, yet finding success and just competing and doing what coach is asking him to do.
And that's something Duke faces other than when Plumlee is in the game. They're always giving up size at the 5 spot.
I think Coach K is fine with that, given the fact of his international experience with Team USA. He played LeBron James at the 5 position, and as long as you have players that are active and aggressive on all 5 spots, you can still find success even undersized.
McDaniels for 3, and it's an 8-point game. McDaniels had 2 at the half. He's got 7 here in the second half. Jefferson doesn't look to score very often. Now Hood. Got Noko on him out on the perimeter, so he's going to try to drive on him and throws up a prayer with his right hand, but he does draw the foul.
Well, McDaniels at the opposite end of the floor has really struggled since he's arrived in Greensboro. That left shoulder bothering him, as we've reported throughout the course of the night. Simplify things. Was ready to catch, elevated up, and knocked it down. A good three-point shot for KJ McDaniels. They're going to need a lot more of that down the stretch.
And the foul at this end ruled before the shot, so it'll be Duke ball. When Duke was playing extremely well, and not that they're playing poorly now, but when they were in their best stretch of the season, Dawkins had elevated his game. Jefferson had elevated his game. Plumlee had elevated his game. They were getting contributions really 1 through 9 on the roster. Parker and Hood have been fairly constant all season long. But sometimes you get the feeling the Blue Devils will go as far as maybe their complementary players take them.
Well, and this is one of those complementary parts right there. Working hard down on the block. His base is strong. Able to finish up on the previous possession. He gave it up twice to try to get an open look for Rodney Hood. That time, established low post presence deep and knew he could go through the contact and able to score. Look how hard he works. Noko's been swatting shots, but not this time.
Oh, you signed up with Dish, huh?
Yeah, Dish offered me an iPad with the Hopper so I can watch live and recorded TV anywhere.
Look, a live police chase.
Looks like they're being chased by police on horseback. The helicopters are honing in on them now.
That iPad sure is neat.
What happened to the thing we were watching?
Only Dish offers you an iPad 2 free when you sign up for Dish in the Hopper. Call 1-800-WATCH-TV today.
Back at Greensboro, Dan Schulman, Sean Farnham, Janine Edwards, the 4th and final quarterfinal here with the ACC tournament. And Clemson taking on Duke, with the Blue Devils with a 10-point lead after that last basket by Emil Jefferson. And just past the midway point of the second half, the winner to take on the NC State Wolfpack. T.J. Warren with 28 points earlier tonight as the Wolfpack defeated Syracuse 66-63.
Russ Smith with a great individual effort tonight. T.J. Warren has had now 5 sensational individual efforts consecutively.
In just the last 10 days or so, we've seen some of the biggest names in college basketball. Warren twice, Smith at Louisville, Wiggins at Kansas, and McDermott at Creighton. All of them go over 40 points.
Some great scorers this season in college basketball, some great skill set. And what's the one thing that all of them have outside of Wiggins? Experience, you know. And Warren, even as a sophomore, played huge minutes a year ago and is really needing to step up and fill that role. Wiggins has asserted himself because of Embiid's injury, been much more aggressive.
Adonis Filer working hard, and the follow is there for Noko.
And back to an 8-point lead. Noko continues to impress. 6 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of block shots, and a lot of heart.
Parker driving on McDaniels, lost it. Clemson ball. Clemson needed overtime to defeat Georgia Tech last night. Now giving Duke a battle. Noko makes it a 6-point game.
This young man from Cameroon making an impact in the game.
Hood comes off the screen. Noko got a piece of that. Hood for 3. Clemson ball.
Push it. I continue to be aggressive if I'm Clemson.
Ajukwa challenging and draws the foul.
Now, Noko has been the heart of Clemson. Off the iron, finish it as the shot clock expires, and then the next possession, deep post position, comfortable, goes right to the jump hook, and then at the defensive end of the floor, gets the block and tips that one away from Rodney Hood.
He is just a sophomore. A whole lot of upside for him. Blossom game back in for Clemson. Roper comes in as well.
Well, for Noko, Luke Richard Mbamute was here last night for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Luke Richard came from Cameroon, and we've talked so much about Embiid and his mentor being Luke Richard Mbamute. Well, he's not the only one. There's about 25 kids in all that he has helped bring over to the United States to give them an opportunity to play high school and then at the next level in college. Noko is one of those kids.
Maybe Noko will pay it forward and do the same for others one day. He's got a bright future.
With the opportunity to give back, and what a class act Luke Richard is.
Parker, no. Tip, no. Clemson ball again. Ajukwa steps into it. And Sulaimon down with a loose ball rebound.
And that one was a little bit ill-advised shot. Down by 5. You can get that one at any point.
McDaniels on the bench right now for Clemson. Parker, great job to corral that pass and finish.
Now 2 Clemson Tigers standing on one on either side, and it was Parker who was able to corral that one in and finish it.
Still just a 7-point game. Ajukwa turns the corner. Filer. Tipped by Blossom game, but out of bounds, and it'll be Duke ball when we come back. 7 minutes to go. 7-point lead, Blue Devils.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. T. Rowe Price. Understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. And Subway. Experience the irresistible crunch of the new Fritos Chicken Enchilada Melt. Only at Subway.
You'll always find fresh values at Subway, where this March we've got 2 favorites as our featured values. The much-loved meatball marinara continues as our featured $5 footlong. Try it with peppers, onions, and melty mozzarella, along with our signature marinara sauce. And that's not all. The low-fat, big-flavor Black Forest ham is the $3 6-inch select of March. Made for you on freshly baked bread with your choice of fresh veggies like crunchy cucumbers. Get them both all month long as our March featured values. Subway. Eat fresh.
How could a luminous protein in jellyfish impact life expectancy in the U.S., real estate in Hong Kong, and the optics industry in Germany? At T. Rowe Price, we understand the connections of a complex global economy. It's just one reason over 75% of our mutual funds beat their 10-year Lipper average. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Request a prospectus or summary prospectus with investment information, risks, fees, and expenses to read and consider carefully before investing.
To win the Sport Clips $10,000 MVP Moment Maker, the guys just gotta do what comes naturally. Visit your Sport Clips to get a scratch and win ticket that could win you 10 grand to make your MVP moment. Or a bunch of instant win prizes that are cool too. Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
Reese Davis with you in the studio. Another night, yet another milestone for Doug McDermott. Big East semifinal. Creighton in control. McDermott with that alley-oop has 21 points. The Blue Jays up by 16. McDermott into the top 5 in the all-time scoring list.
An incredible accomplishment when you think about it. And again, we have to point out that a lot of these players only played 3 years. There was freshman ineligibility for a long time. But still, over 3,000 points for the presumptive National Player of the Year this year.
Well, and if you project him out to get just to the Sweet 16, which is definitely not out of the realm of possibility for Creighton, and he gets his scoring average, he'll probably end up number 2 on that list.
Crazy.
Meanwhile, Clemson, in their first meeting we mentioned off the top, plus 18 in points in the paint tonight. They're minus 2. So Duke has done a nice job forcing Clemson out over the top, not giving them the same quality looks, and also at the same point in time, being aggressive and putting points on the paint at their end of the floor.
It is just a 7-point game, 6:57 to go. A berth in the semifinals on the line. Duke is the 3 seed. Clemson is the 6 seed and in need of a big win to even give themselves, it would appear, a glimmer of hope for an at-large bid. Parker the kick to Hood. 10 to shoot, and Hood fouled. As we check in again with Janine.
Well, the emphasis for the Clemson Tigers in that last timeout is defense and tightening up the gaps. They feel Duke just has way too much room in their driving lanes. Another thing, they want to keep driving offensively themselves, the Tigers, because they are getting into the paint. And they're also been able to get some defensive rebounds, like Brad Brownell told me at halftime. Let's get some production off of some of Duke's misses.
Hood knocks down the first.
I think Janine is right, talking about the need to turn rebounds into points. You don't just have to run off of turnovers. Take a look, space out the floor, fill the wings, and throw it ahead.
Duke 13 out of 14, Sean, from the line tonight.
Difficult to do that when you're taking it out of the net, though, especially after a free throw situation.
Again, Clemson is a somewhat deliberate team offensively. They don't score quickly or in bunches, so 9 can seem like more than that. McDaniel's heating up. He's now got 9 points in the second half, 11 on the night.
That was a shot that was in rhythm, though. He came off. He looked himself on that shot, where he hasn't looked like himself for a majority of this tournament.
Sulaimon right over Noko.
I love the fact that he went right into him and right after him. Most of the time, what the problem is with shot blockers is the reputation gets out that they block shots. Then people go in and they're softer in finishing. They're afraid of getting their shot blocked, and when you're afraid of it, it's going to happen.
And Thornton sneaks into behind Noko and takes it away.
How many times have we seen him do that over the course of his career?
Hood had Jefferson, but just for a moment. Parker thought about the 3. 10 to shoot. Hood's really been the initiator of a lot of offense tonight for Duke. Jefferson off balance, no. Noko another rebound. Corner 3. DeMarcus Harrison, it's a 6-point game.
And that's the push in transition. Even if you're not going for a layup, you can flatten the defense. You can draw them in as you drive in and take a higher percentage shot from the outside. Just 2 of 14 as a team prior to this make by Harrison, but you see the attention that has to be given to Hall as he's coming right at you. Thornton had to step into the driver, and in doing so, freed up the space on the backside.
Remember, this is a Clemson team that defeated Duke during the regular season, and that was a couple of months ago, back in mid-January, 72-59, and that was at Little John Coliseum, giving them a battle tonight. What's at stake? A date with the Wolfpack tomorrow afternoon at 3 Eastern. T.J. Warren had 28 more today as NC State knocked out Syracuse by 3. Virginia and Pittsburgh also advancing to the semifinals with wins earlier today. And impressive performances by both teams. We talked about Pitt a few minutes ago. Virginia just methodical, sharing the ball, efficient offensively, and as always, tough defensively.
Tony Bennett's teams, like Clemson, they play great defense.
Every single possession, you know that they're going to bring it. The difference this year has been their efficiency at the offensive end of the floor. In particular, when London Perrantes matured as the season went on, it made things easier for Malcolm Brogdon, who's had an outstanding season. Joe Harris, who often we don't talk about immediately, but was huge today in their game here at the ACC tournament with 20 points. They're a team that plays with a chip on their shoulder, a little under the radar still. Even by winning the regular season title, people want to point out their conference schedule, who they had to face. They only played Duke and Syracuse once.
First outright ACC championship for Virginia since 1981, and this is hard to believe. The last time they made the ACC tournament semifinals was 1995, the longest drought in the conference. Another rebound for Jefferson.
Can't afford to give up second chance opportunities in a 6-point game with 4 minutes left to go. You need to track down any loose ball, and that time they were standing flat-footed at the defensive end.
Under 4 minutes to go. And a Clemson steal. Harrison, nice look. Hall wide open. 3-point game.
And they're going to look. They're going to look at that to see whether or not it was a 3 or a 2. The signal has already been given to the table. That is a new rule this year that the officials will go back and look at it at the next stoppage of play.
Now the officials will take a look. We'll get a look. You'll get a look to see if there should have been a 2 or a 3. Ruled a 3 on the floor. Pretty nice looking transition, too, from Harrison to Hall.
Second time in a row, though, and that's going to be a 3. I still see space between his toes and the line. And he literally towed that line, though. Not much closer he could get without making that a 2-point shot. You see here on his feet where they're located, a little bit of space. I don't see anything that would change my mind from the call that was made on the floor, which was a 3.
And look at the bench. Look at the confidence growing for the Tigers. Minute by minute, point by point. And now Roger Ayers, the lead official tonight, giving the signal to both benches that it will remain a 3. What does Duke have to do offensively to get some better looks?
Well, that last possession, they were stagnant. They weren't moving at all. They were content with taking time off the clock after they got that offensive rebound, and in doing so, Noko, who has played so well at the offensive end, made the defensive play to initiate that with the tap out. I think they need to start turning up the pressure again, looking to try to get Jabari Parker off some screens and allowing him to curl in to some action that gets his momentum going towards the rim.
Same group for Duke. Thornton, Sulaimon, Hood, Parker, Jefferson. And Sulaimon hollering at Parker. He wanted him to do something different than he did on that play. And Mike Krzyzewski doesn't like the way this possession is going. Sulaimon is still steam, and they might all get an earful from their coach during this timeout.
Well, this is a team that, for a better part of the season, has played like a cohesive unit. Understanding on the same page what is being asked of them. They come out of a timeout, and they look completely disoriented. Like they had no idea where they were supposed to be. Miscommunication, people yelling at one another now on the floor. You've got to settle it back down, regain your composure if you do.
Let's take a look at some of the stars of the day here at Greensboro. We'll go back to the first game this afternoon, the Virginia win over Florida State. Senior Joe Harris with 20 points in the win for the Cavaliers. Look at the numbers for Talib Zana. Monster day, 19 points, 21 rebounds, down go the Heels, and then T.J. Warren, ho-hum, 28 more today for the conference's player of the year, the leading scorer, as the Wolfpack knock out the Orange.
Syracuse could just not make enough shots today. I mean, so many opportunities down the stretch. Final possession, trailing by 3. They had 4 3-point shot attempts. They had 2 2-point shot attempts. None of them could go down.
5 offensive rebounds on 1 possession, couldn't convert. Sulaimon just taking matters into his own hands.
We were talking about what do they need to do? Be aggressive, start going towards the basket, playing too much, going east-west, not enough north-south. That time Duke was able to turn it back in the right direction.
Inside, 3 minutes to go. Hall keeps the dribble alive. Pretty good north-south player himself. Back to a 3-point game.
Well, if you're Clemson, you feel good. Being down 3 after the way this game has gone, you were trailed by double digits here in the second half.
Parker banks it home.
A great pin and seal and a simple move.
Will McDaniels be a factor down the stretch for Clemson? Been much better in the second half. Very quiet in the first. Noko. Nicely done. Landry Noko doing a job at both ends of the floor. Brad Brownell will use his next to last timeout.
A good job by Clemson to get the ball down to Noko. He is the player that has been asking for the ball most. Him and Hall really have been the focal point here in the second half as far as scoring goes for the Clemson Tigers. But this young man has played with heart. He's played with passion. He's played with the want to. The want to the ball, the want to score. And with K.J. McDaniels not having his A game, still dealing with that left shoulder injury, Noko has been the player that has elevated his game tonight.
Well, we're all building towards Selection Sunday, and ESPN's coverage of the NCAA Men's Division I basketball tournament continues on Sunday with a special edition of Sports Center at 5:30, and then at 7, it's Bracketology as our panel of experts break down this year's field of 68. Selection Sunday, Sports Center at 5:30, Bracketology at 7. Both shows also available live on Watch ESPN.
There's something about Duke, though, that brings out the best of Noko. He had 10 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 blocks in their win. Earlier this season, he has 10 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 block shots today.
Duke with the ball and a 3-point lead as we near the final 2 minutes of regulation. We've had an overtime game in the night session. Each of the first 2 nights of this tournament. There's another one on the horizon. Sulaimon with a good look from the corner. Here's Harrison. Going all the way. And it is a 1-point game.
The transition looks and pushing it for Clemson have been key in this 12-4 run.
And you got to believe that everybody in this building, the Carolina fans, the State fans, the Syracuse fans, they're all rooting for Clemson right now. Clemson has gained a lot of supporters here in the last little while as Sulaimon drives in his foul.
For the Clemson Tigers, taking the opportunity to transition from the defensive end and not have to go against the half-court set. It's not just off of turnovers. You've got to run, get a rebound, space the floor, and aggressively attack the iron. Clemson, they've made a game out of this. 1 point.
What does everything mean to you? With the Quicksilver Cashback Card from Capital One, it means unlimited 1.5% cash back on everything you purchase every day. It doesn't mean everything as long as you buy it at the gas station. It doesn't mean everything until you hit your cashback limit. It means earn 1.5% cash back on every purchase, every place, every occasion, all over creation. That's what everything should mean. So consider, what's in your wallet?
Are you okay, Mom? Yes, I am.
Life insurance from New York Life can help your family keep good going.
There's one. What is that?
It's my bail call.
That's way better than my duck call.
If you're on a diet of taking it up a notch,
That's just different.
drink Diet Dew. The only diet with dew in it.
So as you can see, this trend is going to continue, and moving forward, we need to be aware of it. Late, again.
Reese Davis with you, checking in on the American semifinal. UConn and Cincinnati. Look at Ryan Boatwright threatening to go all boat wrong on the people, and then Boatwright, that was a pass. It was a pass. Amita Bryman puts in the dunk. 53-46. UConn wins to get Louisville in the championship game. Georgia trying to fight past Ole Miss to get to Kentucky, a 1-point lead. Just over 8 minutes to play in the SEC quarter.
And a look at the SEC with Kentucky awaiting the winner of that game. Florida and Tennessee also playing tomorrow in the semis. You can see both of those games on ABC. Sulaimon misses the free throw. That's just the second miss from the line in 15 attempts for Duke tonight, as they are clinging to a 1-point lead over Clemson. Make it 2 with 1:14 to go.
Well, Clemson 6 for 6 from the field over the last 5 minutes in this push.
McDaniels, Hood guarding him, and a foul on Hood. That is the 6th team foul on Duke, so no bonus yet for the Tigers.
A design play by Coach Brownell to isolate K.J. McDaniels. They cleared out the entire right-hand side and allowed him to try to attack.
McDaniels very quiet in the first half with just 2 points. He's added 9 here in the second half, playing with a bruised left shoulder. Duke fans chanting defense right now as we go into the final minute.
They clear out for McDaniels once again.
Will he draw the double team? They play him straight up, and he draws a foul. A push is the call on Jefferson, and it'll be 1-1 for McDaniels.
K.J. McDaniels spins baseline, elevates the defense, and Jefferson got into him with the body. Coach K, Nate James, they disagree.
McDaniels 85% from the line on the season. One more will tie it. Clemson team with 1 timeout left.
Clemson has played back-to-back overtime games. They played overtime against Pitt in the final regular season game. They need that free throw to tie this up.
11 seconds separating game clock and shot clock. Sulaimon handling the ball for Duke. Here comes Thornton to help out. And Krzyzewski signaling in a play from the bench. Sulaimon staring over. Thornton telling Parker where to go. Shot clock's down to 6. They're going to get it going here. And Sulaimon loses his balance. Clemson's got the ball. Hall. And Clemson has the lead. Hood is fouled. One and one coming for Rodney Hood. Another crazy finish here in Greensboro.
The basket in transition. Hall able to, after the defensive stop, push it in transition. Sulaimon falls to the floor. Noko immediately outlets it, and we're going in the opposite direction, and Hall able to finish in the paint.
1 and 1 for Hood. Very good free throw shooter. 5 for 6 tonight. Clemson does have a timeout. 3.8 left. And he made them both. And Brad Brownell will use his last timeout.
It was a crazy finish in our first game here. North Carolina State, Syracuse. It was a 3-point lead. 20-plus seconds left. 2 misses from inside the paint. Then a couple of rush threes from the outside. 5 offensive rebounds in all on this possession. 4 missed 3-point shots. The last one coming here from Trevor Cooney, off balance with about 4 seconds left to go. The ball then would go out of bounds as C.J. Fair stepped on the line, and Mark Gottfried's team advanced into the semifinals here in the ACC tournament.
And they'll play the winner of this one, and right now it's Duke leading by a point. Clemson's got the ball after a crazy sequence up and down. If you're Clemson, what are you looking for? When they've needed a play more than anybody else in this tournament, Rod Hall's been the guy to make the play.
Rod Hall is your best option, driving towards the basket. Milko could come out and set an on-ball screen, but I think the important thing to note here is Duke took the timeout. Clemson still has its timeout, so you could throw the ball if you can, get something going towards the half-court line, then call another quick timeout and still give yourself about 3 seconds, maybe 2.7 seconds to get something in a shorter distance. That could work out for Coach Brownell.
You got to give the Tigers a lot of credit. Duke had created separation. They led, I think, by as many as 13 points in this game, and that was in the second half. And Clemson was down 9 with only 6 minutes left, and they fought their way back into this game.
Now, in the NBA, you can advance the ball. Right. If you called the timeout, Duke called the timeout, so you can't advance the ball. You can't advance the ball anyways in college. So that's why what I would try to do is get something going towards half court, and as soon as you catch the ball at half court, call another quick timeout.
The only change for Duke, Matt Jones in for Jabari Parker for defensive purposes. For Clemson, Roper comes back into the game. He had 11 first-half points. He's out there with Harrison, Hall, McDaniels, and Noko. Harrison to inbound. Jefferson on the ball. 3.8 to go. Clemson down 1. Hall. Going all the way. There is no call, and Duke wins the game.
And just utter frustration from the Clemson Tigers. Hall was the guy that has the momentum, and he's the one that, as he turns the corner, that has a chance to make the play. He just made it seconds ago, and as he drives up the floor here, tough to see that as not being called. But the defensive player, Sulaimon, steps in. Actually, you know what? There was no contact there. He jumped over the top. You know what?
Yeah.
The first look that we had, I thought there was contact there. The second one clearly shows that there was not. That was an excellent call, actually, by this officiating group.
So Duke survives and advances on to the semifinal to take on North Carolina State tomorrow afternoon as the Blue Devils take out the Tigers 63-62. We're going to come back and visit with you in Sports Center. Wrap this one up properly. But first, back to the studio as we send it to Robert Flores and Scott Van Pelt.
Sanders for 3. Good! Good! Holy cats!
This is Sports Center Live.
Russ Smith, a career night as he lights up Houston for 42. Plus, which teams making a move to secure a #1 seed and which teams took a step back. Phil Jackson officially back on Broadway. What the Zen Masters return means for Carmelo's future in the Big Apple. Ravens grabbing a veteran playmaker to boost that struggling O, while the Patriots take another step to shore up a leaky secondary. Sports Center, we're working. How's it going? Welcome inside Sports Center alongside Scott Van Pelt. I'm Robert Flores. What a thrilling finish to Duke and Clemson. I want to go back out there so we can see that second-to-last play.
I think a lot of folks, particularly on Twitter, are interested to know what the folks there saw in terms of fouls that were called and fouls that weren't called. We'll hear from the folks that called it, and we'll get right back to Greensboro now. Janine Edwards, live on the scene there. Janine?
And I'm here with Jabari Parker. Congratulations, Jabari. A phenomenal ending to this game. Everybody on the edge of their seat. What were these last few minutes like? What was the craziest aspect of the last 3 minutes of this game?
Well, Clemson really had the momentum coming in for the last couple minutes of the game during the second half. You know, we didn't really do a good job defending them, and they really got on us. So we just pulled through, and all the praises to my teammates. You know, they really pulled through for me.
This was your first ACC tournament game. How did it compare to how you envisioned it going?
I think that it was pretty well spoken. You know, Clemson had to beat us. You know, they wanted to get, you know, a good seed in the tournament, and we kind of knew they was trying to get that pressure on us, so we knew that we had to, you know, pick up that lead.
You just told me this game was really, really intense. You were pretty quiet in the first half. What did the coaching staff say to you to get you back into your rhythm? Because you had way more of an impact in this second half.
Well, you know, just my teammates setting me up. You know, they always was in my ear saying I needed to pick it up. You know, I had little glimpses of it, but, you know, overall win it goes up to my team. You know, Rodney hit the 2 free throws to clinch the lead.
And he just thanked his teammates for all their support, and he said he will support them tomorrow. Dan?
All right, Janine, thank you. Another right down to the wire, nail-biting kind of a finish here with the ACC tournament. Dan Schulman, Sean Farnham. Between Clemson and Duke, Hood hit the free throws. Duke was up 1. Clemson had the ball. Rod Hall streaking down the court. On first view, it looked like a foul. We saw a replay again. This is going to be a play a lot of people are talking about. And I know, having seen it again from this angle, you see Hall take off.
Well, and he lost the ball prior to. Thornton had punched it already away, and he literally just dove between the defense. And all the great moves that Hall had, and you're going to see the overhead angle of it now. As Thornton punches this ball out, he doesn't get any of the arm. It's all ball. And so then he just flies through and splits the defensive player, and it's no foul, and it's the right call that was made in that moment. But really, it was Hall that made the difference down the stretch for Clemson to even bring this game to tighten it up. 67% shooting in the second half for Clemson. They made their final 7 shots. That wasn't a shot attempt, so it doesn't count.
Let's look ahead to the semifinals. Virginia, Pittsburgh, NC State, Duke.
Well, I think when you look at Virginia-Pittsburgh, you're going to see a low-scoring affair, very similar to what you saw when these two matched up earlier this year when Malcolm Brogdon hit the 3 at the buzzer to win it for Virginia. The efficiency of Virginia, the depth of Virginia, I think could hurt Pittsburgh in that game, but Talib Zana can equalize that by getting on the glass. Meanwhile, for Duke, you've got to get better efficiency, better movement on the offensive end of the floor, in particular in the second half tonight, where they shot 40% from the field and they allowed their opponents to shoot 67%. That's a problem when you're facing a player like T.J. Warren, who has been outstanding, had 28 points tonight for North Carolina State and their upset win over Syracuse.
And an opportunity for NC State to add another big-time win to their resume as they look for an at-large. Virginia, Pittsburgh, NC State, Duke, and the ACC semis tomorrow afternoon from Greensboro.
All right, so we saw the Clemson final attempt, but we didn't get another look at Rodney Hood's attempt.
Predictably, the Duke people are saying that I'm not complaining about anything. I'm telling you, I'm quoting Twitter about what happened on the Hood play. That's all. I'm not saying anything about anything.
You might be complaining a little.
I'm not complaining about
agree
anything.
with you. Hopefully, we'll show it soon.
Well, we'll see what happens. A lot of interesting things that happened during this afternoon and evening. It's that time of year.